Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Inspiration in Education series, where we share inspirational stories of leaders who are creating an impact in the education industry. For today's session, the theme is Power of Collaborations for Academic Excellence and Societal Impact. For the discussion, we have with us Professor Kamal Kishore Pant, Director for IIT Roorkee. Welcome, Professor Pant, and thank you for joining us live today.
Thank you, Shashi, and thank you, Economic Times, for providing me the opportunity to speak in front of you and share my thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, as someone who has led distinguished institutions like IIT Roorkee, your career journey undoubtedly is filled with invaluable experiences. Today, I'd like to begin by exploring a defining moment that shaped your personal philosophy on education and innovation. Could you share a specific occasion or accomplishment that continues to influence your leadership approach?
Thank you for the question. See, actually, when you look at the journey where I am now, it starts from many routes, and when you look at your education, then where you educate yourself and your activities in terms of the societal development, your thoughts for the future. So my education, undergrad, and then postgrad, and PhD, and after that, completing my study, the academic institute at IIT Delhi when I joined in 1999, and then involved in couple of activities, getting the experience all around the world. I had been the visiting research associate professor at Auburn University, and then in Utah while teaching at IIT Delhi campus. I had been taken the several responsibilities. I had been the gate chairman, I had been the head of the department, and then dean faculty at IIT Delhi, and also working connected with the industry because I never left my research work, and always I had a group of 25 to 30 research scholars in my team, and which connects you, the education system in terms of classroom teaching as well as the outside classroom teaching, and how these students can be motivated toward the research, toward their responsibility for the society. So most of the research project which I took, starting from fundamentals, then I just took the applied research. So basically I'm a chemical engineer, so I took the research which was mainly catalysis and then related to the industrial connect, so different refineries, petrochemical industries related research. So we started solving the problems for the industries because that is one of the approaches by which you can build the trust between industry and academy, and that build my relationship with the industries. And then with that kind of relationship, I got this what you call Petrotech Society. So I was the chair of this Petrotech Society, and finally it became the Federation of Indian Petroleum Industry. So continuously for 15 years, I was associated with this uh, Federation of Indian Petroleum Industry, and with that, that how industry and academia can collaborate, and then how this can be transformational research, which is the need of the hour when we talk about Make in India concept, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and how these students can be made confident so that they can be ready for the industrial jobs, right? They can be ready for the academic jobs. So guiding them, mentoring them. So all these made me strong enough to develop my own interpersonal skill also. And with these kind of the depth of knowledge and experience, over 30 years of experience, then finally I became the director of this institute, IIT Roorkee. So just in 2022, I joined here as a director in the month of October. And then at the time of joining itself, I had the kind of thought that I have to do something for the the local Uttarakhand. I have to do something for the society. I have to do something for the community, because when you do take the responsibility, then there are a lot of challenges also. So how to take all together in the system, and then how to motivate the young generation, how to motivate the faculty, and how to develop the infrastructure in the campus and make that more and more vibrant campus. So these all things are required when you look at, right, your development of the institute. So my vision was that IIT Roorkee, it is 176-year-old institute. It has its own, right, the heritage value, and the department faculty, these are very active. Students are very active. So with their support, now I am trying my best that how this institute can be brought to among top 200, right, in the institutes, or universities within the world. And that can happen, that is possible if you just continue, every individual works hard, right, feel their responsibility, and this is what we are doing at present. I'm sure that in 10 to 15 years, or when we talk about 2047 Viksit Bharat, then IIT Roorkee will have 200 years of its completion. And that time, definitely, we would have a dream that we will have more and more a kind of unicorns from the IIT Roorkee, and that is what we are visioning. All these things happen in gradual, that is through the education, through a kind of determination, and through support of all my faculty colleagues, mentors, and my teachers, those who have shaped me and gave me that kind of confidence that yes, you can do it, and how can you make others happy? That is my motive in the life. So I work in those directions.
I think that's a great point. Thank you so much, Professor Pan. 25 to 30 research, it's truly a great number. And you mentioned about contributing to the journey of Viksit Bharat. And I think IIT Roorkee is already contributing a lot of unicorns you are already producing. So that's great. And it's amazing, fascinating story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. This truly highlights your passion for innovation. Building on your point about preparing students for the future, the recent placement success at IIT Roorkee reflects the strong industry demand for your graduates. And this leads me to my next question around the MOU that has been recently signed between IIT Roorkee and IIT Bhilai, highlighting a commitment to preserving Indian knowledge systems. Could you elaborate on how this collaboration will contribute to socio-economic development in tribal areas, particularly through research on traditional medicinal plants and tribal culture studies?
Yeah, I think this is very important and pertinent, right, point, because when we say that, right, that how the students, when they, our undergrad students or postgraduate students, when they come to the institute, right, they do a lot of research, they earn a lot of knowledge, right. At the same time, that the National Education Policy 2020 has given lot of, right, a new domains where, right, they can have the multidisciplinary research, they can have the, right, multifaceted development, skill development, entrepreneurship, right, skill development. So that opportunity is there. So at the same time, there is a need of the hour that all these students should learn about heritage values, right, our culture, right. So, and this should start definitely from the, right, early days in the school, from the homes itself, right. Family should be, right, trained accordingly, and the kids should be given those kind of knowledge, like all those, right, 2000 years, 4000 years of, right, science is already there. When you see the Aryabhatta, when you see that the galaxy, right, our astrologers were, right, able to tell, right, what is going to happen, right. So, and we would talk it in terms of lunar eclipse, right, solar eclipse, but that was, right, a kind of already, why these kind of, right, that time you have to take precautions, you know that now we talk scientifically all these things, right. Some radiations are coming from there and you have to protect yourself, but earlier days also they were talking that you have not to go out, the pregnant women should stay at home, right. After that you have to take bath and all these things, right, and the foods, right, there was a scientific, right, already these things were there in our heritage value. Similarly, when you talk about lot of things, like when you talk about Veda, right, Gita, Ramayana, right, they have mentioned many things, Puspak Viman, right, but it means there was some kind of development, right, and so it means if we just bring that, right, we train our undergrad, we tell them that what was India in the, right, past 2000 years, 3000 years, how the things were developed at that time. And when you see the many things like Stone Age, when we talk, there were a lot of science. They used to work, right? They used to have the, right, those kind of instruments which they were using, and gradually over the year we right developed ourselves, right? And most of these things happened in India, in country, and and maybe over the years it was taken by outside also. But the development and our ancient sage, the all these Rishi Muni, what we call, they had the chanting Sanskrit. It was our own language, right? And Panini was there, right? So many. But somehow over the years, we forgot to inculcate those kind of spirits, or knowledge among our young generation. And what is their responsibility toward the society, right? Ethics, these are very important. They learn many things, but they forget how to return to the society, right? So that is very important, and that's why in the beginning also I said how to make others happy. This was in our Indian culture, right? If we are able to make every individual is able to make that how to make others happy, then I think the job is done. There will not be any kind of stress in the life, right? Because this is what we have to encourage each other, and that should happen at family level. That should a joint family, right? That should happen at the school. That should happen right at higher. And when we are on job, we have to look at our neighbors also. So this should be our culture. So this Indian knowledge system, now we have started these kind of courses at our undergrad level. All these undergraduate students or even postgraduate students, so we have those kind of our cultural social responsibilities. And what is the science, right? That is scientifically we are validating our what is happened 2000 years, right? Like patents have been coming right now, garlic, several natural medicines are there, herbal medicine. This Uttarakhand itself is rich in many types of herbs, right? And but scientifically we need to validate. There are several fruits, right, which have very good medicinal and plants which have very good nutritious value. So these things are to be done. And most of these things, whether you talk about say Bhilai, say, right in Chhattisgarh, IIT Bhilai is there. There are also a lot of the natural resources are there. Lot of tribal area they are using these kind of natural resources. Here also in Uttarakhand, if you find out, they are using, but somehow they were not connected to the society. So now the purpose of this, that whatever the science and technology we are doing, right? How can our IIT system through science and technology we can help those tribal areas, those who are in the remote areas? How can we bring them to the mainframe? That is one thing. Second thing is that how can we train them for self-employment? They have already a lot of knowledge, but scientifically validate, improve the quality of the product so that it can be made of international market. So from local, which you are saying, so vocal for local and vocal for global. So that is the concept. There are several herbs, right, natural herbs, and which has very good medicinal plant value. And now Ayurveda is coming, right? So how does Ayurveda is able to treat the patient and long ways, right? If you just look at, I was just watching Ramayan, see, right, in one of the, I was sure they were using some kind of oil lay to protect the dead body for a longer period, which was already done, right? And so it means now scientifically what kind of those medicines, what kind of those plants, which can be used, and our young generation should learn that and then take it to the next level so that our culture should remain. We are so how our culture can be taken globally and we can propagate it. That is very very important. So and our youth has to do that kind of job. I am sure that this is being done by all the institutes, academic institutes, right, and government of India is supporting for these activities. So this is, I think, Indian knowledge system will definitely be helpful for the young generation to understand the ethics, to understand their responsibility toward the society, and how to make our society happy, how they can return whatever the knowledge they have, how can they return it to the society, or where the people are, the remotely rural area people, or remotely those who are tribal areas, we have to go there and train them, and then empowerment, job, technical skill development, capacity building develop, all these will be the part of it. We see every year now we send our students to Bhilai or other part, right, in those remote areas. So exchange of culture is also equally important. So through this, we are doing that part also.
I think that's great, Professor. Your emphasis on equipping students with Relevant skills related to our heritage and Indian culture resonates deeply. Indian culture is truly so rich, and it was
Yes.
always scientifically driven, like you mentioned, instances from Ramayana and related to solar eclipse. And yes, the connect between our youth and our history is somehow missing. And initiatives like these MOUs will truly contribute a lot in bringing all those connects and knowledge back. Your dedication, Professor, to IKS and sustainable development is truly commendable. And now, coming to my next question, we would also like to delve into industry partnerships and global challenges. Now, speaking of innovation in different fields, the inauguration of Center for Space Science and Technology at IIT Roorkee signifies a leap forward in India's space exploration journey. In that context, how do you envision academia contributing to the growth of space related applications and startups in India?
Now the science and technology, right? And it has become interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary. When you talk about any technology development, when you talk about any product development, it has to route through several steps, right? Several steps in the sense that when the faculty generally at IITs or any academic systems, right, we do some lab skill research, right? That is kind of fundamental research, and we call it right from fundamentals, which may be a technology readiness level 3, 4, something like that. But you have to make it ready for the market readiness level, right? Because industry cannot accept the technology which is just at the lab scale, right? We have to show them that this is proven for the large scale, right? It can be taken to the next step. It has the potential for profit making, something like that. We call it right a kind of technology readiness level 9, and then finally market readiness level, and most important nowadays, which has come to the community readiness level. Because sustainability is very important, and the sustainable products, when we say, it has to be accepted by the society, right? And it should continuously, right, be produced without affecting, right, our environment, and all the resources should be available for our next generation. All these things are very important. So we talk in terms of carbon dioxide capture, conversion, net zero carbon, you must have heard. All these things are nowadays being done. Having said that, when we talk about the Center for Space Science and Technology, that now, right, our Indian Space of Research Organization ISRO has done a lot of new domains of their right under their right umbrella, and now we have reached to moon, right. Already you have seen that, right, Chandrayaan 3, and then now Aditya also, right, towards sun, and there are several other steps are being right taken by ISRO, that so that India will become the self-reliant. Same thing is now DRDO also, a lot of the kind of research is being done from by DRDO also. The objective of this Center for Space Science and Technology, creation of this kind of center, which is very unique and supported by our ISRO, right? So the purpose is that because in Chandrayaan 3 also many of our researchers, faculty members, they are working for these kind of because when you talk about in total, you are looking at that Chandrayaan has reached to moon, but in between there are many, right, who are working, right. Every part is important for that, right. What kind of fuel they are using for this, how these materials are, right, thermal resistant and climate sensitive, and how these materials can be made lighter and lighter. And there are a lot of things, right, in terms of science and technology, then mathematics, computational, now artificial intelligence. All these kind of the science, engineering, and multidisciplinary research is required to develop those kind of devices. So there will be a lot of semiconducting material, right, devices. There will be a lot of application of quantum mechanics, physics, right, photonics. So these are right because sensors will be required, data processing will be required, image processing. So large amount of work is to be done when you talk about these kind of activity. So ISRO is supporting, right, to different institutes, educational institutes, right, in terms of capacity building, because skilled manpower is also required. So we are training our undergrad students, postgrad students, PhD students, so that they can work in these areas, right. So how these semiconducting materials, right, how the research can be taken in semiconducting materials, how the devices can be developed. So we have here Center for right photonics, we have optics and photonics. So all these centers, along with Center for Space Science and Technology, they are working together as a team, along with other branch of science and engineering, where mechanical engineering they are doing, electronics and electrical engineering they are doing a lot of research. So we have now the research in the form of PhD student. PhD student is one of the dedicated right manpowers. They work in those selected areas. So it is now part by part, so that which can be integrated, and finally you can see the product, right? So that's why I said there are physicists who are working, there are electronic engineers, there is a team from artificial intelligence data science, and we have taken the experts from ISRO itself. So these are the right as a professor of practice under that. We take the professionals who are retired from that organization who have the expertise. So they can join the hands with the young generation and our faculty members, and they work, which is the problem related to the ISRO or space science related research. So that is now the a kind of when you talk about Make in India concept, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this kind of center, these kind of centers are required. And with this kind of right, along with the team of ISRO, we are working together. Several other institutes are also joining, and there are a lot of right this quantum mechanics, quantum physics, which is coming nowadays, right? Sensor development, drone development, as I said. This is the objective that so that we can join the hands with the research work which is being done by ISRO, and our team will also contribute to the mission of right that is called that different kind of missions which where we are working.
I think that's great. Other institutes can also learn a lot from what you just shared, sir, around hiring leaders from ISRO and making them work with your students on research to contribute in the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. I think that's amazing. And this also shows your vision for the space sector that you aspire to. And that's really inspiring. Thank you.
Just one
Now,
more point that my this colleague has shared that this IRS, Dehradun and IIT Roorkee, right, already joined right the forces to elevate space science and technology, and IIT Roorkee and ISRO, that is remote sensing. IIRS is the Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, and ISRO and Dehradun signed a MOU, and we are working together in this area.
I
So
think
there
that's
are
amazing.
collaborations with now other universities are also being done.
That's
Thank you.
amazing. That's great. Thank you so much, Professor Pant, for sharing that with our audience. That's amazing. Now shifting gears slightly to the broader landscape of education. India's higher education institutions have immense potential to make a global impact. From your esteemed perspective, Professor Pant, what do you see as the key strategies for enhancing the global footprint of Indian higher education institutions?
Yeah, this is a very pertinent question. In fact, nowadays there is a need because when we talk about the collaborations, right, the research is always a kind of right where you have, if you want to develop right a transformational research, you need to join hands with different experts all around the world. So not only within the country, but internationalization is also required. And when you look at right, as I said, the right how the institute can work together, that is the internationalization is very important, right? So you know that you will be happy to learn that IIT Roorkee highest number of right international students in the campus. We have 200 students in the campus as a PhD student, as a master student, and we invite the students right from Europe, from US, right to our institute, and so that they can spend right the time with our students. So that is also part of a knowledge system where exchange of culture, right, exchange of knowledge, and this is also very important when we talk Vasudev Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one solution. So I think if all of us work together, then the problems when you talk about sustainability, these issues that these can be resolved because these are the global problems, right? Supplying the food, right, that is nutritious food to every citizen, right, all around the world, potable water to every human being, right, and the clean energy. So this, I think, this is where the food, energy, water, and this is the global problem, right? So I think this should be done, And for that, what you see that when you look at the internationalization, we have now the collaboration, and Department of Science and Technology is promoting these kind of activities through multinational research. So we have the bilateral and multinational, multi-institutional research projects, through which we have the provisions of the exchange of faculty, exchange of students. So our faculty generally go abroad. They spend time for 6 months to 1 year. We have a provision of sabbatical leaves also. So we allow our faculty to go abroad, spend the time with the other university lab, so that they can bring the knowledge back and then work on those areas. Similarly, the government of India is also supporting through different, like Fulbright Fellowship is there, Raman Fellowship, Newton Bhava Fellowship, Vaibhav, right? So Department of Science and Technology, they have started series of these kind of exchange program where the international faculty are, right, coming here. They are visiting. They spend the time 6 months to 1 year, and they can teach the courses also during that time, right? So that their knowledge can be, right, whatever the expertise they have, their expertise can be used by our students. Similarly, our faculty go there and they also teach there. They do they are involved in the research, and this is required. So in order to enhance these kind of activity, what we have done, we are inculcating here the visiting faculty from the abroad. So we have on our roll several adjunct faculty, several visiting faculty, and this is one of the example of, right, data science and artificial intelligence, which is supported by Mehta Foundation School. So he is in Houston and he used to visit. And our faculty and the students are now connected, right, with several universities there like Purdue and Stanford. Right, they are working in the area of data science and artificial intelligence. We have like co-prepared, which is UGC support that. So with German universities, we have that kind of collaboration. And we have several kind of, right, with the say alumni connect is very important to increase all these kind of expertise. So at present around 48,000 alumni we have, and more than 15,000 alumni are spread all over the world. So last just 2 months before only, there was in Washington DC, there was a Pan IIT, and we visited there. We interacted with our alumni. The objective was same that how IIT Roorkee can be brought to the, right, international level. Right, how can we increase our visibility on an international academic institute as well as the industrial perspective. And now we are getting success in that. So we have now collaborations with many US universities. We have signed MOU with many academic institutes. We have already an MTech program with Taiwan University. So three Taiwan universities are working on a joint master program, right, where IIT Roorkee and these three Taiwan universities, we are working on semiconducting material because Taiwan has good expertise in the semiconducting material. So that is a kind of the example of how the IIT Roorkee is internationalized. Similarly, we have for PhD and the joint dual degree PhD, we have signed MOU with Adelaide University in Australia and several other universities in Australia, several universities in Europe like UK, in Germany, and in US. So that is a kind of, right, when by signing the MOU, we have started this kind of international. We are also looking forward, right, with the support of the government, if possible, then soon we will also look forward in kind of, right, international center of IIT in some of the countries. So we will look forward that also. So that is a kind of, right, the need of the hour, and exchange of knowledge, as I said, exchange of the expertise, right, in terms of the research for development of the product is very important. And I think that the globally we should work as a team.
Yeah, very well said, Professor. And I really like your point that sustainability is really not one nation's challenge, it's a global challenge. And the initiatives that you are leading at IIT Roorkee around sending faculty abroad and inviting faculty from different countries for knowledge sharing, I think that's really creating and adding a lot of value to your students. And that is why IIT Roorkee has maximum number of alumni who are working abroad. Indeed, IIT Roorkee is truly contributing a lot in bringing great minds to international level. Thank you so much, Professor, for a truly insightful conversation. Your vision and passion for shaping the future of education and innovation are truly motivating. I am leaving inspired and with a deeper understanding of challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Thank you so much once again for your time, Professor.
Thank you, Sashi, for inviting me for this discussion. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Thank you.